Hello everybody. I'm kind of recording this video to kind of follow up on the install of the VM because when I ended class in person, we ran out of time basically to show you the final steps. I did get basically up to this screen during the install. And I did opt to create a local account. And if you're stuck on that process, you basically use a fake email address for the login, and then you're prompted to create a local account instead. I made sure that I chose the username and passwords and answered all the security questions with something I knew I would remember, and that was really easy. When I got done at class, basically what I did is I was in VirtualBox and I just hit the X here in the corner. And when you hit that X, it captures your current state and then stores it. And then when you come back to it and start the machine again, it takes you right back to where you were. You don't have to like reboot the machine or anything like that. And so that's where I'm coming right back to where I left off. I'm going to get rid of these two little dialogues here. And you can actually learn how to get rid of those permanently, by the way. For right now, I'm leaving them on. You might be presented with this screen, and when you do get this screen, I'm gonna, normally if I was running a normal computer, I'd probably leave most of this stuff on, except for maybe like advertising ID and tailored experiences I might turn off. But since we're like a VM, I'm actually gonna opt to turn off all of these things because really they're not pertinent to any of the stuff that we're doing. If something that we install or use needs one of these services, we can always go back into the settings and retroactively turn it on. So I'm going to just flip all that stuff off and click accept. Cortana, which is their voice assistant in Windows, I don't really want that for my VM either. You can run it if you wish, but I'm choosing not to. So I'm going to say not now. And then it's kind of finishing the install process, and now you see I'm getting basically the welcome message from Windows. Still getting some things ready. Thank you, Microsoft. So we're just waiting for it, and then within a few moments here, I should be booting into Windows 10, and you should see the running environment. And so I thought it was important to kind of record these last couple of steps for you, which I will add to our bank of videos. So I'm just kind of giving this a moment to finish up. The speed at which these installations proceed really kind of depends on a number of different things. The speed and processing power of your host machine is really important, whether you're on a solid state hard drive or a spinning platter hard drive. I did opt to put this on my second hard drive, which is an old-fashioned hard drive, a spinning platter one. So it's a little bit slower for disk read writes, but it's on a separate drive, so it doesn't really mess with my host operating system. The other thing that affects the speed of it is once the virtual machine is running is how much RAM did you allocate to the virtual machine and how much CPU did you allocate to that machine. Provided that you gave it at least 2 CPUs and 4 gigs of RAM, it should operate at about the same speed that you're seeing on my screen. For reference, I'm running a Core i7, which is a 10th gen version of it, of the i7, from Intel. So that's, reasonably fast chip. It is a couple years old, but it's still, I think, reasonably powerful. You are seeing now that the machine is up and running, and it is basically like having a computer within a computer. So I can, for example, bring up the browser, and okay, so they're asking me, start without your data. I don't want to sign in. Yeah, all the standard neg screens. All right. But just to show you that, once you're inside of here, it does basically operate like a standard computer. So if you want to go to the Gateway website, here you go. You can do all your Gateway stuff right inside of here. So for all intents and purposes, anything you could do on a normal computer, you could do here. It's just captured inside of a window, If you guys do run into hiccups with this or have problems or questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help you. I've already done a couple of one-on-ones with people who just had little issues, and most of them are pretty simple to resolve. If for some reason you make the wrong settings, in the process of doing this, it's really kind of easy to change them after the fact, and I can show you how to do that too. Now, a couple little things I'm going to add here. So I do want to demonstrate the fact that, okay, this is up and running right now, and it's working just fine. You know, normally when you operate a regular computer, when you're done using it, depending on the kind of machine you have, some of us just close the cover and it goes to sleep. Some of us actually go to the start menu and shut down. Other people just log out, you know, and all of those options are available here. So I could go to the start menu and I could just do a standard shutdown if I wanted, right? And it turns off inside of here, and then when I come back again, I can reboot and go back in. However, one of the beautiful advantages of using a virtual machine is I kind of don't have to do that. So like here's Windows up and running, and I can actually come up here to the host window for VirtualBox and just click the X, and notice what it says here: save the machine state. So it will just capture wherever you are. If you have any running programs, anything that you're doing on the screen, it will just save that exact thing, and when you come back, it'll take you exactly back to that. So for example, I'm going to choose this option and let it basically save the machine state. So it saves it as basically a file, a modified version of the hard drive and the memory, basically. And then when I come back to it, and I'll demonstrate that also, so you can see in the status panel here, it says it's saved. You know, and when you look at my other ones here, so I have a Windows XP in here that's powered off, so it's not even running. My Windows 3.1 that I demonstrated during class that first night, that one's in a saved state, and my Windows 10 Sandbox is in a saved state. So when I come back here and it's highlighted and I hit the start button, it will reload from that saved version and take me right back to where I was. It takes a few seconds to restore it from the file, but you can see it's not very long. You know, like I said, it will vary depending on the speed of your machine and your resources allocated. And there it is. I'm right back in, and it's back up and running right where I left off. If I would have had any programs open or websites or whatever, it would take me exactly back to that spot. I am going to do a shutdown on this at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and just choose power shutdown. And that's I'm going to say the preferred way to shut it down. But I don't know if you also caught the fact that when I hit the X before and it was saving the machine state, that you had an option from there to send the shutdown signal as well. You always have that option from the menus, by the way. I forget where it is. Right here, you can do an ACPI shutdown. That's not usually preferred, though. It's usually considered more elegant to actually do a shutdown from within the virtual machine. Now that you have this created, you do have the capability now to use this to install software, to test things, to surf, you know, securely. Like if there's like a website you go to that you think might be unsafe, you can do it inside the virtual machine and it will not damage anything on your host system. So a lot of advantages to kind of using these tools. The only limitation really is how much resources you're allocating to it and how you're using it. So if you do something that's like really memory intensive or graphic heavy, like video processing or something like that, you want to either allocate more resources or do it in your host operating system. But for testing things like network connections or potentially malicious pieces of software, or if you're concerned about being hacked, this is really kind of a great tool. All right, folks, that ends this additional little video that I did, and I hope you found it helpful. And we will revisit these topics next week when we convene.